welcome back to another episode of Straight Facts. Chelsea Football Club have received up to 3 multi-billion-pound bids for the club. Saudi media groups came in yesterday, a consortium now that believed to be leading the way, led by Todd Boehly, I think his name is pronounced, along with a British billionaire, are reportedly leading the way. Chelsea going through all the applications, bid processes, and of course the plans of the proposed buyers with a fine-tooth comb to look at what they believe will be the best and most viable option for the football club to take them forward. Now, what's very, very interesting indeed is that there's owners of the Jets that are also in this running as well. A lot of people want to steer clear of that individual. The Saudi media group's an interesting one because they have claimed and they've shown documentation they have no direct connection to the government. But a lot of experts on Saudi Arabia say that that's almost impossible in Saudi Arabia to become as wealthy as said individuals from that group without having some type of connection or the government knowing a little bit more about you than you would necessarily like. And Chelsea, of course, want to tread carefully to avoid any situation like this happening again in the future. Once the bids have been reviewed and Chelsea decide on who their preferred option is, they will submit that straight to the UK government for them to essentially sign off on. We're going to delve into that in a little bit more detail and, of course, get the views and opinions of man like Lee Gunner, who is back on Straight Facts today. How are you, my friend?
Good. I'm real good, mate. And yeah, sorry about last week. I was mad busy, as you know. But yeah, good to be back, man. And what a difference a week makes for Chelsea, because a week ago, they were in the mud and finished. A week later, there's about 200 people interested in buying them. It's mad, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And I think that's one of the things for me in this last week that stood out, that people were going to want to buy Chelsea for different reasons. There was always going to, you're never going to get, and I think what's kind of annoyed me was this chat of, they're right, the Roman era is over. Chelsea, as we know them, are finished. But that doesn't mean the club isn't going to be successful. They're not going to get new owners. They're not going to be run well. It doesn't mean they're going to be in the mud, that they're going to go bankrupt. And, you know, I spoke to somebody, and this is an interesting one for the viewers. I spoke to somebody at a certain bank where maybe I used to work, and their take is, after speaking to people at Chelsea, although they know the accounts have got to be frozen, the reports are that Chelsea are laying it on quite thick to the government, that they're in a much worse situation financially than they are. There are cash reserves that they still have access to that can help get them through these tough times. But of course, they're going to lay it on thick. They're going to scream they're broke. There was an application today to have games played behind closed doors. A lot of this is being done on the front end to try and help the government get back on side with Chelsea, almost for the government to take as much pity as they can against Chelsea so they can get this situation resolved as soon as possible. But these bids are in from Saudi media group, who look a very wealthy investment group, excellent sort of track record in the media industry, as it were. Lots of money. I think the fund in itself is worth 1.3 trillion in total. So there's lots of money that can be pumped into the football club. And the main lead on that is a Chelsea fan. You've, of course, got Todd Boehly, who is, again, a very well-respected businessman, along with, you know, his consortium. It depends on the media. You've got H. Grimes, who's very popular on socials, claims the Saudi group are leading. Todd Boehly and his consortium are leading, according to some of the Times as an example here in the UK, who I would say to our international viewers, the Times are very credible. Like, I would give the Times the time of day, if that makes sense. Like, they're very, very good indeed. And then there's the American consortiums and owners that are looking at the club of, well, the owner of the Jets and a few of the other big franchises out in the States. But it's very weird times to see kind of Chelsea going through this, isn't it?
Yeah, it's mad, mate. I don't think anyone expected this to happen with Chelsea, to be honest. And Everton as well. Listen, let's not forget Everton are in a similar position as well. So the difference is Chelsea are located in the wealthiest part of London. Everton are in Liverpool. Yeah, so it's two totally different spectrums. And Chelsea will always be all right. Listen, even with the kit sponsor pulling out, they still got more income than Arsenal. Yeah, even without that deal, they've still got a massive global fan base up there, or even more than Arsenal. They're constantly winning on the football pitch. They're the current European and world champions. You know, they're always going to be all right, and there's always going to be interest in that football club from some of the wealthiest people on the planet. And if they do end up with the Saudi media group, I think it's curtains for everyone. I can't lie. I think it's game over, because, you know, Newcastle have got the Saudis in there at the moment, but Newcastle are starting at a foundation that is a million miles away from Chelsea already. So if you get a Saudi consortium go in there and where Chelsea already are, they're just going to kick them on. And let's be real, anyone who comes into there is going to want to put their own stamp of authority on it. They're going to want to get the fans on side real quick as well, because a lot of the fans will be, what's going to happen to our club? You know, what is their intentions? Whilst it looks good on paper for a lot of these, some of them might not go through with that. So, you know, and then it's very difficult to then get them owners out, as Arsenal have had for a long, long time. You know, it's not easy to get an owner out of a football club. So I think Chelsea are going to be all right. They're going to be well all right. And a lot of Chelsea fans were probably worried. I think they're less worried now. I think, if anything, they're looking forward to it. And the one thing I'll say, because like I said, I wasn't on here last week, but the one thing I'll say, yeah, Roman Abramovich is the perfect owner in terms of what he came in and delivered. I think every single football club in the Premier League would want a Roman Abramovich. It's only because this has happened that people have gone, oh yeah, well, this is what happens when you have this owner. Yeah, but listen, you want an owner that's going to come in and elevate your football club. Yeah, Abramovich did that way beyond Chelsea's fans' wildest dreams, mate. With the new ownership, they're going to have to try and do the same to get the fans on side, because the majority of fans, if not all of them, love Abramovich. So now you've got to come in and stamp your authority on it, go through with your intentions for the club, and actually keep winning. Yeah, because that's all it's about. It's about winning and making the club bigger and better. And Chelsea are a foundation now where they're already successful. They're already a massive club. They can commercially attract massive multi-million pound deals. And all they need now is a stadium revamp or a rebuild with the stadium. And then they've got everything, haven't they?
And that's, you know, Saudi Media Group have proposed that they want to develop the stadium. And that seems to be the individuals that Chelsea fans really want. Again, just through what I've seen on socials, I haven't spoken to every Chelsea fan in the world. I think the connection to American owners via a consortium do put the willies up most people. It makes them think, you know, less spending. It makes them think of the Glazers.
We're the example of that, us, Man United and Liverpool.
Yeah, Hicks and Gillette, exactly. So I don't think they really want that. And I read that the owner of the Jets, whose name now eludes me, it was written down in front of me earlier on today, whoever the owner of the Jets is, I literally can't find it now, but irrespective, that, you know, there's a lot of people that say, you know, he's one of the worst kind of franchise owners that's out there as an example. You've got the Chicago Cubs owner and Thomas Ricketts looking at it as well. There's also a consortium led by the LA Dodgers part owner, who is Todd that we speak about. So those guys, I feel like there's almost this element of the Saudi Media Group. The only thing that I was told yesterday by, when I say someone very connected to the football club, I'm not talking about a journalist, someone very connected, is that what he's been told is that Chelsea are just treading a little bit carefully, because his explanation to me was, and this is just what I've been told as opposed to my knowledge, that in a country like Saudi Arabia, if you're a very wealthy person, as the lead of the Saudi Media Group is, the fact that everything, I'm not saying the media is state-owned as such, it may even be, but the fact is it's different from the UK. So it isn't like the Queen doesn't know what everybody's up to in this country. I feel like in Saudi Arabia, their royal family is a little bit more connected. And I think Chelsea are just looking to make sure they dig a little bit deeper than the paperwork saying there is no connection. And it's almost a case of, we need to really double check there isn't any connection, because what you don't want to do is get through this process. You have the UK government sign off on it, but then as the fit and proper person checks are being done, something's unearthed and it creates a situation where the process has to start again, because that's where Chelsea could find themselves in trouble. Equally, they want to be very, very careful, because there's a big light shining again now on the Saudi owners of Newcastle. There's huge calls for something similar to happen to them. Now, that isn't going to happen, because whether people like it or not, the UK government needs Saudi Arabia, especially in the midst of a fuel pandemic as it is skyrocketing. The last thing the UK government is going to do is fall out with Saudi Arabia for that, one of those reasons alone. Even though there are some atrocious things going on that involve their nation as well. I think Chelsea are just treading, what I was told is Chelsea are treading really carefully. They want to make doubly sure the Saudi Media Group don't have any kind of connections. And it could just be a case of they're not being controlled internally by them. They're not being told, you know, what they can and can't put on their TV outside of the laws of that nation, as it were. And I just almost feel like they just need to do that due diligence, because the last thing Chelsea need from a PR point of view is connections to something else that is seen as like lacking integrity or immoral. But at the same, it does feel like they're pushing. For me, everything I've read, it feels like they're pushing more towards a Saudi media group because they don't want the American consortium style. The venture capitalists coming in and taking money out of the football club. They just want someone who wants to come in and make the team successful on the football pitch. And Saudi media group appear to be the individuals most willing to do that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally, mate. Listen, at the end of the day, you don't want to lumber yourself in a situation 3, 4, 5 years down the line that Chelsea are in now, because then you've got to do it all over again. So, listen, the thing is, Terry, right? The American side of it, let me say this, yeah? The American side of it, you see, at your football club, the Glazers, they've taken £2 billion out of that football club. Yeah, so any American owner that is, or American billionaire that wants to buy Chelsea, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd say just be careful of that, because whilst it all looks good on paper, and they might have great, fantastic plans, there's proof in the pudding with 3 football clubs in this country. Yeah, Arsenal, our owner's not great at all, albeit it doesn't take much money out of the football club, if any. I think he's taken 6 million in 11 years, 12 years, something like that. Liverpool's owner's not great. I think the only money he's invested out of his own pocket is for the new stand, and then you've got them 3 owners all from the same part of the world. So the track record for American ownership in this country is not great, is it? So if I was Chelsea fans, I'd be more interested in going down the route of the Saudi group, especially when you know they've got pockets full of money, mate. Yeah, and not only that, it's also a pride as well. They want to be the best. Yeah, that you can see from their plans. Their plans are probably the best plans out of anyone.
No, I agree. And as a Footy Matters FC here says, he goes, Terry, the Saudis are going to buy more clubs and the Premier League can't do anything about it because the UK government's on side. And that is true. I mean, it depends on, people got to remember it. When people say the Saudis, we have to remember that, again, not all Saudis are part of the royal family. Not all Saudis are connected directly to the government. You could have 20 different Saudi owners of the clubs. There's no issue. Where it can become a problem is the industries of which people make their money in. Where it can become a problem is if there are owners that, if for instance, a consortium wants to buy Chelsea, but one of its main contributors is also the owner of Newcastle, that can cause a conflict of interest. So there are stipulations that could stop the Premier League from allowing it to go through, as an example. But this is more, again, what I've read, this is nothing to do with the government not being happy with the Saudi media group. This is more Chelsea. They want to be very, very mindful, because what Chelsea don't want to do, let's just paint this picture. Chelsea get taken over by a Saudi media group. Then it turns out, whether it's official, we all know this in life as well. Forget what the paperwork says for a moment here, and forget about Boris Johnson and what they might do. If you're a Chelsea Football Club and you get an inkling and a feeling that somebody who's not on the board, somebody who's not part of the group, actually has a controlling influence over Saudi media group because of internal politics within Saudi Arabia, you need to be very careful about getting into bed with them, even from a Chelsea fan point of view, because imagine the people that run your club are not actually fully in control. Now, I'm not suggesting that's happening, but Chelsea have to do their due diligence on it, because on paper, it might all go through. Do you know what I mean? But it's, you don't want someone who's not on paper running your club, running your football club, or having an influence on it. They need to be, and Chelsea need to be mindful about that. Do you know what I mean? Because these things do happen in the world. Do you know what I mean? So they've got to be very, very careful in terms of what they're doing. There's no doubt. Comment here says, do not get American owners because they don't win. FSG do a little bit FFG have won as an example. There we have some more super chats here. The first one here from GK says, hey Terry and Lee, love the Tuesday show with Lee's knowledge. Also, Lee, I'm working on your test for you, Kenny and Jez, which will happen this summer. So make sure everyone you tune in, Terry. Ronaldo is the greatest goal scorer, is what he says there. Even Clarence Seedorf was a better footballer than Cristiano Ronaldo. That doesn't mean that Ronaldo is not a bad player. People take the effing piss. That's when you say something bad about a player. You don't like that player, is what Chica. Did you say Seedorf was better than him?
Who, me?
Yeah, I was just assuming you did, based on that.
Seedorf's a better footballer than Ronaldo will ever be. That ain't even a debate.
We'll get onto that later. We'll get onto that prediction a little bit later on as well.
People don't, let me just say, people, we are going to get onto that later, yeah, but people just look at goal output, Terry, yeah? I'm talking about actual footballer, but we'll talk that later.
Hey, Terry, how are the UK government going to stop Saudi media with Boris about to fly to Saudi to beg for more oil? Yeah, the UK government, as I said, I don't think the UK government is looking at it from that point of view. I think Chelsea are treading carefully to protect their own interests. Let me paint maybe a very basic, watered-down version. Let's say the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, who owns Newcastle, has an influence over Saudi media group, whether it's on paper or just the fact that he can say, do X, Y, and Z. Imagine, look, do X, Y, and Z as I'll take your as I'll take all your media channels off the TV. I'm just painting that out there, right? Chelsea don't want to put themselves into a position where their owner can be controlled by the owner of another team in the same league as them. Like, think about that logically for a minute. You would imagine you wouldn't want them to be your owners either. So I think it's more Chelsea treading carefully, and it'll be a little more complex than that. But I'm just saying, like, that's what I was told yesterday from someone very connected at Chelsea, and it made a lot of sense. I would want to check that that's the case as well. But I don't think the UK government can stop it at all. I don't think there's any precedent for the UK government to stop it. Or any kind of want for them to do it. So, and I know, as you keep saying here, Saudi media has no connection to the government. On paper, yes. Chelsea need to make sure there's no influence that comes outside of paperwork. To act like these things don't exist in certain parts of the world is a madness. It's a madness. So they're just double checking. That is what will stop Saudi media group, not the government, in my opinion. It will be, we're not fully sure that they can't be lent on by somebody else. That's what Chelsea need to do their due diligence on. It's as simple as that. But as I said, on paper, there's no connection. But as we all know, do you know what I mean? It's that where I grew up, we all knew who the shotter on the estate was. Do you know what I mean? We all knew. But yet he's doing it for years. Why? Because couldn't prove it was him. Because he was very clever. He never carried anything. It was little Utes passing this and taking that. He never had anything. We all knew he controlled it. That's my point. So on paper, this guy weren't dealing nothing. Weren't shutting nothing, but he controlled it. Same logic here, right? I'm just saying, like, sometimes in life, what it says on paper, like, me and Lee have come from a background. We both definitely know somebody that got found innocent on something, but we know they did it, right?
Yep.
So that's my point. Like, just because what it says on paper don't mean in real life it's true. But that's what's going on there. In other news today, Champions League football is back. Man United. Are Man United going to win? Are United going through? Or are they getting dumped out tonight, Lee?
Dumped out, Terry.
Why?
Simeone, man. Simeone. He's gonna have Ragnick's pants pulled down. He's gonna smack his bottom. You know how he's gonna come and play. He's gonna sit and park the bus, and he's gonna get the win. And you lot are going to find it difficult to break him down. Yeah, you did very well to get a draw in the first leg, to be honest with you, because I didn't expect you to get a draw in that. But I think they'll knock you out. I really do. Although saying that, you did play some great football at the weekend in stages. Yeah, some big stages as well. But yeah, I do think Atletico will come and beat you. I really do. I think that. I don't know. They're just a more well-oiled team, a more complete team. They've not had a great season this season. Yeah, although I think they slapped up Betis the other night. But yeah, they're a good team, man. And Man United are so hit and miss at times. It's unbelievable. Like, one week you'll go and see a Ronaldo hat trick, then the next week you're losing to some rubbish team. Do you know what I mean? It's mad. Atletico ain't been great, like I said, but I think that because they've kept the same core of players in the team all season, yeah, and the fact that they've played together for years and years, week in, week out, I think that just stands them in better stead. I think they've got a better manager, and I think that he's been there and done it before. Yeah, he's been to places where you think maybe Man United are in good form, or maybe it's a loss, and then bang, does it. Yeah, listen, this guy is a top class manager. Your manager. He's not really a manager, is he? Let's be real.
No, he's not. He's a director. That's one of the funniest things about the banter he gets. See, especially Chelsea fans, some Chelsea fans on Twitter. Terrible managerial appointment. I'm like, bro, he was never the manager. He was always the interim. And I know he has these ideals. He wouldn't mind stepping in. Even when you go back to the original conversations, it was almost, if the ideal candidate isn't available in the summer, he may stay for another year as the interim, which nobody looks at as a good idea. But actually, when you think about it, if we'd have waited 12 more months instead of so obviously we employed Jose at the same time that Pep came in as an example. But if we would have used their heads and maybe delayed the sacking of Moyes or sacked LVG earlier and got our timing right, we could have got Pep Guardiola. We kind of missed out on him twice by not having our timing. Even think about it this way. I know Fergie wanted to retire. But even think about that. Why wasn't the work done? Like, the way it was done is, I think Pep wanted a year out when Fergie retired, so he wasn't ready to manage. Then we should never have given David Moyes a 5-year deal. We should have brought in an interim for a year. Even if you let for a year, with hindsight, the coaching team that Fergie had manage it. So it doesn't matter who becomes the manager, whether it's Phelan or Mullenstein. Just let them take over that team for a year. It wouldn't have gone backwards as much as Moyes because the continuity would have been there. And then you bring in Pep Guardiola. That's what we need to do here. So if someone, say the best candidate is Ten Hag, but for whatever reason he isn't available until the summer of 2023, I'd rather wait another year with Ralph than appoint somebody else, because that's burnt us in the past where we've gone, right, can't get him, let's give a 5-year deal to this guy or a 3-year deal to this guy. And we keep missing the better candidates, if you get where I'm coming from. And it's sometimes I'd rather just wait, bide my time and get it right. In terms of tonight, look, anything can happen tonight. We can go through, we can go out. Of course, that's a very obvious thing to say because it's knockout football. I would be strange, right? I'd be happier playing well and going out than playing badly and going through. And I'll tell you why. There's logic to this. A good performance, at least I might be able to enjoy it and then go, right, now we can focus on the league and maybe not securing top 4, but, pushing, take this performance and move forward. If we play badly and go out, we're getting panned in the next round by a class team because Atletico aren't playing well. If you get my drift, they're not the same Ati of 3 years ago. But if we get a Bayern Munich, a Man City, or a Liverpool over 2 legs, we're shipping 8 goals plus. Legitimately, we'll ship 8 goals plus. No doubt about it. We'll ship 8 goals plus. So, of course, I want to win. I want to play well tonight. I want the crowd up. I want to win. I want to go through. I do want to. But at the same time, I have this sobering thought of getting absolutely annihilated. That's why the only way I want to go through is by playing well. Because at least then it's like, okay, well, we've shown we can put performances in this competition. And then it's knockout football and you never quite know. But if we drag this out and we're awful and we scrape through with a last-minute Ronaldo header, I will celebrate because I'm a Man United fan. But when I calm down, I'll be like, oh, do you know what Bayern Munich are going to do to us? If you get where I'm coming from, it's a worrying fact.
Didn't you say at the start of the Champions League campaign that you had a little feeling that you were going to win it? Do you still have that feeling?
Mate, no, that's gone. That's dissipated, mate. That's dissipated. Dissipated. It's gone. I don't know where it is now. It's just a quantum of nothingness in the atmosphere. And I felt it because if we go back to last season, we didn't play great football, but we had all these moments of brilliance that put us into second. Do you know the crazy thing about this season? We have barely any moments of brilliance. So it was almost, you've got brilliant players, therefore you got through. I felt like adding Varane, adding Sancho, who is starting to cook now, and adding Ronaldo. What we saw on Saturday was a great example. I thought we played good football in patches, and that's what we did for the majority of the last 2 seasons under Ollie. It was patches in games. I just felt by adding more quality, there'd be many more patches of, if you get where I'm coming from, like with Martial and Donny coming on off the bench, and hopefully Rashford finding his form after his shoulder surgery. It's all gone to cock. It's all gone to pieces. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I'm not really looking forward to tonight. I think what do I think is going to happen? I think we'll go out tonight 2-1. 2-1 on the night, 3-2 on aggregate. I think it could be another painful night for Man United. It really could.
I think you'll go out 1-0. You'll lose 1-0 tonight. I think that they're just so well drilled. And listen, people are saying, I even said it, they're not playing great this season. I think they've lost 1 game in their last 7 or 8 in all competitions. So, I mean, they're not great, but they've picked up a bit of upturning form. They were down to 7th in the table the other week. I think they're currently 4th. I think they're level with Barca. But yeah, they're just, listen, you've got a player in Ronaldo who normally in this competition is the superstar, isn't he? He does always turn up in the big moments of the game, the big games. But I don't know, man. I just think, it's extra incentive for him because obviously he played for Real Madrid for so long. But I just don't see your midfield coping with them, mate. And defence, like your defence is shambolic. Yeah, their defence, although they've conceded a lot more goals this season than they did last season already in the league, the Champions League, they tend to normally find a way. And I just think they're going to beat you, mate. I really do. I just don't see a way where you've got that little bit of quality to break them down when they're putting everyone in the box and trying to break away. And they've got quality going forward as well. Let's not forget that.
Yeah, of course they haven't. I hear that. Do you know an interesting statistic I read today? I haven't verified if it's true, but I'm just taking it at face value. Man United have not lost a game where Varane and Maguire have started together as centre-backs. I read. I don't know. One. I don't know. But yeah, it's listen, there's always hope. But you're right about Ronaldo. 807 goals, the greatest goal scorer of all time. No footballer scored more. His record in the Champions League is ridiculous. If you actually look at I think he has nearly 3 times as many knockout Champions League goals as Messi. And I use Messi as the yardstick because Messi is, in many people's eyes, the greatest footballer of all time. It just shows the clutch nature of Ronaldo. So you've always got a chance with him in the team. As poor as he's been in the league, I mean, we say how poor he's been in the league. He's the second highest goal scorer in the league on 12 goals. But I think he has 6 in 6 in this tournament. And the thing is, what you wouldn't put past him is him finishing his dinner tonight, grabbing a brace, grabbing a couple of goals. What I'd love is just another Ronaldo versus Atletico hat-trick in the Champions League, just to cement his greatness as the greatest football player the Champions League's ever seen. And, break more records. I'd love that to happen, and I'd celebrate that, and I'd be over the moon. But when I'm sitting here, straight facts is about talking about things honestly.
Well, if you were going to give straight facts, Terry, big up to Ben AFC in the chat. It said Ronaldo's 472 goals off Pele's record.
Listen, I always like to speak respectfully of Pele because he is one of the greatest.
Weren't they all for the army and stuff like that?
Yeah, I mean, if Ronaldo was to include his friendlies and all the goals he scored as a kid, he's probably got at least another 400 to 500 goals to throw in there. But listen, what Ronaldo has done is out of this world, and we were talking about it on the top 6 last night, and Jess didn't really want to go into it. I think she felt that we were going to try and do a Ronaldo Henry thing, and I wasn't really. I wanted to speak about the fact that the one hope for United, I would say, for now and the rest of the season, is if Ronaldo can pick up his fit. The thing is, in the last 7 weeks where we've dropped loads of points, I think 8-9 points from winning positions in the league and not beating Norwich as well. In each of those games, I would say Ronaldo's missed 2 or 3 sitters. What we saw on Saturday against Tottenham is him finishing those sitters. He scored a great goal to begin with, but then he got that tap in from Sancho. He's missed 4 of them over the last seven games. He's missed 3 in 3 different games, point blank headers from 2 or 3 yards out, where he's got a clean contact. It's gone wide or over. What we need from Ronaldo, if we're to be successful in the Champions League now and to have any chance of top 4, is he's got to take those chances. And the reason it's more painful when he misses is because he is the greatest goal scorer of all time. I hold him to a higher standard than any other striker or any other goal scorer that ever existed because he's simply the best. And yeah, that's the only chance tonight. And if he can turn up and he can deliver, he is the GOAT, and he'll confirm again that he's the greatest of all time.
He's not the greatest of all time.
Messi's
the greatest of all time. Messi's the greatest. Listen, let me ask you this then. Yeah, you said he's second in the table, second in the chart for goals scored this season. Yeah, with 12. Doesn't that show you, right? He scored 12 league goals this season. Doesn't that show you? Yeah, and people just say, oh, but he's 37. And what? Yeah, at the end of the day, Terry, right? Technically, the guy's not that great. Yeah, and this is why when I say people can't process it in their brains, yeah, he's not the greatest footballer. Yeah, there's a key word there, footballer. He might be one of the greatest goal scorers, yeah, but he's not a great footballer. Yeah, and I suppose it depends what you like. Do you like somebody who just stands there and does one diagonal run across the box and scores a header? Or do you want somebody who wants to jink around 3 or 4 players and ping one top bins? Depends what you're into, innit? Yeah, and at the end of the day, for me, Messi's the best I'll ever witness in my life, mate. Absolutely joy to watch that guy. When I watch Ronaldo, I said this the other week with Rance, when you watch him, he's very smart what he does, yeah, because he gets all of his fanboys on side Ronaldo. So he'll wave his arms around all game, yeah, all like this. Oh my God. Then he'll come up with a clutch goal. Yeah. Then what he'll do for the last 5 minutes of the game, he'll start running around 100 mile an hour, pressing everyone. So then you think, oh, look at him. He's got what mad work rate. He's got this. He does it every week, mate. Every single week.
In fairness to that, he was winning balls back and pressing at the edge of the Man United box from the early stages of the game against Tottenham at the weekend. So he doesn't just do it in the 90-minute mark. And listen, in terms of what you consider to be the greatest ever footballers, I don't really like to argue preferences because I've always said this. I do not like opera per se, but I know that Luciano Pavarotti was a great singer. So my preference of music doesn't take away from the greatness of a genre or an individual. I'm not that big a fan of Elvis or the Beatles. They've got a few songs that I go, oh, that's a good song, or that's good. But I wouldn't listen to an album of theirs. It isn't my style of music. But that doesn't mean I don't realize that they are two of the greatest seminal artists in the history of music. So the preference thing is fine. But with Ronaldo, what I would say is this. His game has reduced massively in the last 4 to 5 years. But when I look back to him as that 18, 19-year-old at Man United, a 22, 23-year-old Ballon d'Or winner at Man United, and what he did in his first 5 or 6 years at Real Madrid, he did dribble. He did, if you just watch the compilation of his, not just of his greatest passes, just watch some of them. Now, I'm not saying that he's a better passer than Lionel Messi, or he's a better dribbler than George Best was, as an example, because that isn't true. But I think what frustrates me with the Ronaldo situation is people talk about him not doing those things in any capacity and try to reduce him to being like a goal poacher like Ian Rush, when he's been so much more than that, like in his career. And the one thing that I love about Ronaldo is the fact that, and you spoke about football being about winning. This guy has gone to like 3 different countries, the 3 biggest leagues and hardest leagues in the world, and he's been dominant in them. And of course, at different stages of his career, Lionel Messi, I think, it's a genius. I think Lionel Messi, I don't need to play Lionel Messi down to like put him behind Ronaldo. But we've seen him go to League One this year, different situation, a different league with a different coach and a different setup. And he's really struggled to adapt so far. He has, and he's still got the same technique. He still looks the same player in patches, but he just hasn't found his feet because he hasn't been able to adjust himself to doing that. And that's one of the things that I look at Ronaldo as having done. Every time he's moved, he's just maintained his level. So where he is at that time, he was never going to go to Serie A and be the player he was at 25, 26, when he went to La Liga. And I think whether people say he's the greatest goal scorer, one of the greatest players, one of the best footballers, comes down to preference. But the one thing about Ronaldo that you can't ever write him off from doing is just he can always impact things for his team. He can always be decisive for his team. And that's what Man United need now. More than anything, what Man United need is for him to come up trumps in this last sort of 2.5 months of the season to try and rescue some Champions League football for next year. Whether he stays or whether he goes next year is irrelevant to me. I think he might go if there's no Champions League football, because he want to maintain that goal scoring record, because he definitely wants to stay in front of Ronaldo in that, which again...
Can I just bring up one thing? Because I'm not really a stats merchant when it comes to assists and that, yeah? Right? But for everything you've just said about Ronaldo, right, and about his goals and this and that, and Messi's not really, and Ronaldo's gone to 3 different countries, etc., and Messi's struggling. Listen, Messi's struggling to score goals at PSG. He ain't struggling to set up goals. And if you actually, and like I said, I'm not one to use assist stats. I think assists are manipulated all day long, mate. Yeah. If you actually look at their goal contributions this season, both of them, Ronaldo's 3 clear of him, and Messi's had the worst season he's ever had in his entire life. And there's only 3 goal contributions behind apparently the greatest footballer that's ever lived in history. Come on, man. Yeah,
and I hear that, but he's also playing in an absolute piss poor league in a much better team than Man United.
And he's also been injured as well, quite a bit since he got there. When he got there, he was injured. Yeah, and the thing is, Terry, right? But the thing is, when you say when people make the argument about Ronaldo's played in 3 different countries, why would Messi leave the biggest club in world football when he is the biggest star at that club ever? Yeah, the only reason he left is because they couldn't keep him, because they cut their wage bill so badly with Griezmann and players like that.
He doesn't have to leave, and he doesn't have to leave. It's like some people turn around and say Pep Guardiola hasn't done what, say, a Fergie has done and taken over a sleeping giant and awoken them. He hasn't done what Jose Mourinho has done, where he's gone to a club that isn't expected to win the Champions League and won it. In the same breath, why does Pep have to do that? I'm not saying for a second that Lionel Messi had to leave to prove that. What I am saying is that something that I hold in very high regard is, one of the things I love about Pep Guardiola is the fact that he's gone to different countries where the football culture is different, the speed of play is different, and he's been able to dominate. And yes, he's gone to the teams that are highly successful, but there's a pressure that comes with that. And there's part of me that hopes that Pep Guardiola, when he leaves City, goes to one of the top clubs in Italy and does it there, so he can say, literally, the 4 best leagues in the world, completed them all. That, for me, is what I think will end up being. When he does that, if and when he does that, if he decides to, I think that could be the thing that tips him over the edge as the greatest manager of all time, anywhere, period, because he's conquered all those different leagues. Do you understand where I'm coming from?
No, I get exactly what you're saying. At the same time,
that's a preference thing for me. But that's a preference thing for me. Like, I like that about that type of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but for me, it's more, if you're at the biggest club in the world, why would you leave? Like, why should you have to prove to millions of people that are doubting you when you're... Listen, if you look at Leo Messi's goal-scoring record for Barcelona, and let's bear in mind, this guy ain't even a striker. He's not a striker. Nobody's ever beaten that record. I think Luis Suarez is 3rd on their top scorers list. Yeah,
it's crazy. We were talking about Benzema the other day and how, like, Benzema...
He's the best striker in the world, mate. That guy's quality.
He's out of this world. One of the first times I couldn't believe my ears listening to Michael Richards when he said, I've only just now decided that he's, like, at, like, Kane's level. And I'm like, wow. Benzema suffered with what I think Mo Salah went through at Liverpool for a few years, is that he wasn't in the top 3 or 4 poster boys. So he just kind of he was just on the side. No one really thought about him because it was always Ronaldo, Modric, Sergio Ramos, who were the Gareth Bale, that were the star attractions. Liverpool, Van Dijk, Trent, Mane. These players were just celebrated and loved more. So, weren't put on that kind of level. Cristiano Ronaldo is one of the greatest athletes across all sports. Sure, he might not be better than Messi in footballing terms, but the disrespect towards CR7 from Messi fanboys is unfair, is what's been said there. We have another super chat that's come in that says, let's imagine Messi at 37. And again, that's another thing as well. One of the things, let's just see where they are. It's one of the when the arguments come.
Yeah, but this is my point, Terry. Right? Yeah, Messi. People are saying about the clutch moments. Like, I remember Neville and Carragher doing the split screen of their stats and all of this and that. Yeah. At the end of the day, Ronaldo. The only difference with Ronaldo to Messi is he can score leaping headers. Messi's a better dribbler, a better passer. For me, he's a better goal scorer. Yeah, he can score all types of goals. Yeah, Ronaldo can't score all types of goals, can he? Ronaldo has scored the little tap in. He'll score a 30-yarder like the other day against Spurs, and he'll score a towering header. Messi can score any type of goal you want him to score. Yeah, maybe, well, even the towering header. He did it against Rio in the Champions League final. Right? But he doesn't do it consistently like Ronaldo with a header in. So for me, yeah, he's clear on every single thing. Right? I rate Ronaldo's work ethic, yeah, to get within the conversation of Messi, because let's be real, Messi is naturally talented footballer, mate. Yeah, if you look at how technically good Messi is, yeah, there's no one better, mate. There won't be anyone better than him. Yeah, so fair play to Ronaldo for saying, I want to catch this guy up. But he's always going to be in the shadow of Messi for me, always. Yeah, because as many goals as he scores, he is a striker. Messi is not a striker.
I wonder, again, not to labour the point, he wasn't always a striker, though. He was a winger and an inside forward for the vast majority.
Messi was playing right wing for how long? Yeah, Messi. How many goals has Messi picked the ball up in his own half and jinked round 5 players and slapped one in? Come on, man. Yeah, can Ronaldo do that? No. Can Ronaldo's free kicks have even gone down the toilet? Come on, man.
As he's got older, they have, and they do things. But this is the point. And this super chat makes sense. He says it's a pointless argument, lads. It's like comparing a Lambo and a Ferrari. It's personal preference. Both are great.
Exactly. Fair play.
And they are. And this is the thing. I rate Ronaldo number 1. My number 2 is Messi. Like, I don't do this whole thing of like one's here and then one's like right through the floor. I think when people separate them that much, I think it's wrong.
Because Terry, this is where I separate them so much. One is a naturally gifted footballer. One is just an elite goal scorer. His whole footballing ability disappeared years ago. Yeah, disappeared years ago. Yeah, footballer. This is where people can't get it twisted. Yeah, who is a better footballer, Dennis Bergkamp or Ronaldo? But people go, oh yeah, but Bergkamp didn't score 800 goals. Who cares? Who is the better footballer?
Again, but I think what's interesting, and I get your point, Lee. I think it's all about. But when you say footballer, and I'm not asking for this is rhetorical. What are you saying? What do you count? Because what you regard a great footballer as, somebody else looks at it completely differently in terms
and
of.
That's why it's always personal preference.
You know, and I hear it, and I absolutely hear it. I absolutely hear it indeed. Big game coming up in the next few days, or in the next day or so. Big up to both. Predictions for Liverpool versus Arsenal. What are you saying going into this game? Liverpool versus Arsenal. You guys look great at the minute. You look great. Liverpool are on fire. They're closing down on Bottle Job City. We'll get onto them a little bit later. How confident? I know they've been, and this super chat here says it actually. Like, Liverpool are Arsenal's bogey team. We're not only like going to beat them, but smash them in the league previously. I think it will be. We will win at Arsenal comfortably. How do you feel as a Gooner going in? Are you feeling confident with the way your manager Arteta has got you playing right now?
We are playing very well the last two games. But let me say this, and people go, oh, you're so negative. Yeah, the Watford game, only 4 players in that game actually had a great game. The rest of them were iffy. The game against Leicester should be the standards going forward for this football team, because every single one of them, including Granit Xhaka and Ben White, who's been, for me, iffy at times this season, were both absolutely superb. Yeah, all of them, every single player in that game against Leicester, that is the level of performance I want to see this team do every week. And that is the first time all season that we have played that well for that long in a football match. We've done it against Tottenham for 40 minutes. We've done it against Villa for 40 minutes. We've done it against Leicester for 40 minutes. But that game the other night against Leicester, excuse me, was 80-odd minutes of absolute class. Yeah, and that's what I want to see. Yeah, and this is the standards Arsenal should be setting. But now we're coming into a game against a team who are going to have their tails up. They've clawed back however many points it was at Christmas. And we're all going, well, the title's done. Yeah, now the title's not done. They're right in the race. And if they win, they're 1 point behind. And they've still got to play Man City. So that game, if they beat us, mate, if they keep this results going, that game's just going to be ridiculous. But in terms of how I feel for us, I don't think we'll win. I think the best we can hope for is a draw. And I think I already know how he's going to play. If we take the game to Liverpool, we're getting battered. Yeah, so he's going to sit everyone deep in the box, hope Lacazette can hold the ball up, try and win free kicks, try and get the odd corner here and there, and try and hope Martinelli or Saka get in behind and score, and hope that we can't get broken down by Liverpool. But I think the way we've played in the last game especially, that's the standard. Everyone running around trying hard for each other. Everyone actually looking like they want it. Yeah, and listen, I said that, and people don't hear it because it goes in this ear and comes straight out this ear. Yeah, when you go and have a look at my player ratings, yeah, with Kenny and Jez, yeah, the ratings back that up. When we do the manager rating, it backs that up. And I always give credit where it's due. The fact is, every time I come on here and you ask me about giving credit after an irrelevant win against some crap team, Terry, trying to draw me out for your little clip for Twitter, you joker, yeah, then I'm not going to give credit, because I expect to beat Norwich. I expect to beat Burnley. I expect to beat teams like that. Leicester, for as good as they are, they've been poor this season, but they're still a good team. Yeah. So, you know, I thought we'd draw that game at the weekend. I did. I thought even without Vardy and Didi and Tielemans, yeah, I thought we'd draw that game. But we made them look crap, like really crap, and we made ourselves look really good. Yeah. But now the test is against one of the best teams in the world. Yeah, because have we actually learnt from the other week where we were naive against that lot and got dumped out the cup after Ben White was laughing at Minamino in the first leg? Yeah. Week later, he weren't laughing anymore. Have we learnt from that going forward now? Because if we don't win that game, yeah, or sorry, if we lose that game, should I say, then have we learned? If we put a performance, I said this the other day with the lads, yeah, if we put a performance in like that Leicester performance on Wednesday, tomorrow, and we lose, yeah, you will not hear me cussing them. Yeah, you will not hear me cussing them, because if they go and put a performance in, and when I say performance, yeah, I don't mean just sitting and camping on your box. Yeah, I mean actually taking a chance when you have to take a chance and want to take a chance, but then realizing that this is not a really good, and they're going for a title and they're one of the best in Europe. So you take your chances and smell the chance. Yeah, the same as you're supposed to smell the danger. If we do that and we lose, I'll give them a round of applause and say, well done. That's what I want to see every week. Because that's what it's about, Terry. Just have a go, but have a go in a smart way. Don't have a go toe-to-toe with this lot, because we'll get slapped. Yeah, and I think a couple of times the last few times we've played them, he has gone toe-to-toe. Yeah, like the first leg, we obviously drew the game. Yeah, but at one point, I think we had 9% possession in that game. Yeah, so it was just literally camp. And we had to, because it was a two-legged affair, I get it, yeah, which is why I was happy with the draw. Yeah, but then the second leg in that League Cup, we were so pathetic. It was unbelievable. The guy that says I'm never satisfied, I'll be satisfied when we're in a title race, mate.
Yeah, do you know what's interesting? I think opening up against Liverpool it's dangerous. I've even seen Pep on occasions be a little bit more pragmatic and a little bit more closed up, because they catch you. They win that ball back high against a high line. Not only have they got Salah, they've added Luis Diaz, who looks an absolute stunning player. I get all that. I just fancy Arsenal tomorrow night. I fancy you guys because, and it's Liverpool fans that are making me fancy. By the way, don't bias. I think Liverpool are going to win the league. But I have a sneaky feeling Arsenal are going to get a result. Might just be a draw, but I think Arsenal are going to get a result. Too many Liverpool fans I'm just listening to, and I have this fervent belief that the way fans behave can seep into a dressing room. And there's no doubt in my mind, the more confident together I see Arsenal fans online, the more confident together I see the players behaving, because I think the energy that goes into the room is important. That's why it's important that they maintain the standards and not let complacency seep in. But I listen to a lot of Liverpool fans, and they're just like, yeah, they're our whipping boys. They never do anything. It's a foregone conclusion. And I don't like foregone conclusion predictions. Maybe it's just the fact they bore me. It's like, oh, you're just picking the easy option again, picking the option that everybody.
Yeah, that's what fans do, Terry. Soon as Arsenal win a few games, I'm in the mud. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Like, there's people in the chat now. Oh, we can't admit he's wrong. Wrong on what? We're sat fourth in the table, mate. Yeah, come on. I've seen my team lift the title unbeaten. I've seen us win 5 titles. Come on, how am I wrong? The fact is, every time we play Liverpool, it's pants down.
Well, there's a comment here. Says Terry, yesterday you said Liverpool were for the league unstoppable. You said, what changed? Yeah, I still think you're going to win the league. It doesn't mean I don't think you can't draw a game against Arsenal. Like, again, they can both exist in the same opinion at the same time. What Liverpool need to guard against tomorrow is complacency. What Liverpool's second half performances in a number of games recently haven't been at their absolute best.
Listen, let me just cut you there. Yeah, do you genuinely think after that City result last night away to Palace, yeah, do you seriously think that Klopp is not going to have them rattled up and rolled up for that game tomorrow?
Of course
night?
he is.
Yeah, they're going to come out. They're going to be nervous because, like, listen, they're literally, if they win, they're 1 point behind, so they are going to be a little bit nervous, yeah, right. But at the same time, they've been there, done it before. They've been there and done it in the Champions League, lost the Champions League final, come back and won it the next year. They lost the title by 1 point. Next season, bang, we're having the title. So now they've clawed back however many points it was. Was it 13 points or something stupid at 1 point?
13 points.
Yeah, they've clawed that back to be 1 behind if they win. And they've still got a plan. The momentum then swings to Liverpool in Liverpool's favour. So they're going to be up for it. And the thing with Liverpool is they all know each other's game inside out. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like I was saying this earlier, as soon as Robertson or Trent go forward, Henderson or Fabinho, one of them would drop in and just cover. Yeah, they don't need to look up them fullbacks to know where Salah and Mane are going to be. Yeah, Fabinho knows where everyone is on the pitch. They all know each other's games, so they're not going to worry, but they will be a bit nervous. And even if they went 1-0 down to us, they'll just keep doing what they're doing because they only have that electric style of play.
And I hear that, but I feel if they come out and play, look, if Liverpool are at their absolute best in every department, that they win. But I feel just like when City arrived in early Jan or late December, early Jan, I feel like Arsenal can take it to Liverpool if they balance it right. If they go gun ho, all guns blazing from the first whistle, I think they'll get picked off. If they're pragmatic at the right times and aggressive at the right times, I think they can catch Liverpool. We've seen everybody that Liverpool have played in recent weeks create opportunities against them. But I don't think any of those teams have been anywhere near as good as Arsenal are right now. I understand that Liverpool are going to be most people's favourites, but Liverpool are going to have to be at their absolute best to beat Arsenal tomorrow night. And as I've said, if Arsenal pick up a draw, if Arsenal pick up a win, I won't walk away going, I can't believe that's happened. You know, I understand that Liverpool are the favourites, and if they're at their best, they'll probably win. But it wouldn't shock me to go the other way around. I think what's frustrated me is what I'm more alluding to is that people are just, it's a Liverpool win. Almost like, why are you even asking the question, Terry? I don't like that attitude towards football. It bothers me because it tells me you've never watched football or any sport before to suggest that, it ain't happening, it can't happen, or whatever it may be. So I think Arsenal for me in this game, you're going to equate it to box. I've got a puncher's chance in this game. I think you've got a puncher's chance. And you can do it.
We're playing well. Yeah, we're playing well. Yeah, but
Lee, hearing you be positive about Arsenal is weirding me out, mate.
Harry, I'm positive every day. Yeah. Let me tell you something Arteta said in his press conference, right? You're a joker, drawing me out again, yeah. So now you can have now you've drawn me out, so now you can have your little clip, yeah. You're a joker. Right. Arteta said in his press conference before Leicester, he said he was asked there how's the confidence after 4 straight wins. I mean, what a dumb question that is. He's not going to say they're on their knees, are they? Yeah, do you know what I mean? But his reply to that was, yes, it's great that we'd won 4 on the spin, but to be the best team in the league or be one of the best teams in the league, you need to win 10, 11, 12, 15 or 18 games in a row. Yeah. So is the manager negative then for wanting to be better and wanting to win 15 in a row? Because when I say it, I'm negative. Yeah. Our fans put Arsenal on a standard of an invincible standard whenever they're mugging off a rival team. Yeah, but is yours gold? So they've put Arsenal on a title-winning standard. So why can't I want more of that? I don't understand it. And then even when the manager sits there and says it, oh, he's a genius. Well, I've been saying it since he got here, mate. Yeah, the aim is to win. Yeah, and he is saying the same thing in his press conference. The aim is to get 15 straight wins because that puts us in a title race, which is the aim, right? So how's it negative for me to say it, but it's positive for him to say it? Oh, what, because you fancy him? I don't know. Perfect hair? He wears Prada? I don't know. What is it? I don't get it.
Well, you know what it is. It's obviously I'm only playing. It's that there are things that are fashionable and unfashionable to say. So, today Chelsea Football Club have tried to postpone have their game against Borough played behind closed doors. And I've seen people say that's outrageous, and the Chelsea mob are coming for him. No. What's outrageous is this and that and the other. And it's almost, there are certain opinions that I saw a Chelsea fan the other day kind of get annoyed about the way people were thorning over Roman. The Chelsea fan base came to him and he came out and apologized for it. And I'm sort of like, that's your opinion, bruv. Stand by your opinion. But as we know, people's opinions now are so changed by the
one result.
There is the result, but I think it's the mob. The mob rule now makes people do these things. And
it does. It makes. Terry, I'll give an example. You just hit the nail on the edge. Yeah, there's a comment in here I'm going to read out from this fella called Boogeyman. Yeah, you say the same thing, but at the wrong times with the context to the situation your club is in at the time. No, I've said the same thing since the 25th of November 2019. He ain't good enough to win us a title. I still believe to this day he ain't good enough to win us a title. You're right, exactly what you said. Yeah, people are scared to come out and say what they actually think because they're scared that they're going to get bombarded with abuse. I couldn't care less. Yeah, I genuinely don't. I find it's funny. Every time Arsenal score a goal, my watch along fills up with people saying, "You're in the mud." Well, cheers. Keep watching it. It's not right.
This is the thing. Someone said to me the other day, "Are you going to have Leon anymore because he's been proven to be wrong?" I said, "You obviously don't listen to Lee because Lee has said that he'll get behind Arteta if he can prove that he can get into a title race and win the major trophies." That's what he's so making top.
Respect is earned, not just given, Terry. Yeah, I'm not just going to give him respect because he's managing my football club.
This is the difference. This is what I struggle with people these days. You've not been put in the mud because you may not have said you were going to make top 4 this year, but your overarching view.
No, I said all summer, actually, Terry. I said all summer with that squad that we've got. Yeah, we should be in the top 4, is what I said.
Okay, fair enough. But
people don't listen to that either because it goes in here and out here.
Yeah, they hear the bits that they want to hear, but equally, like people are like, you never challenge Lee. But I do challenge Lee. I tell Lee that I think he's wrong all the time for not celebrating the improvements in the way I think they deserve to be. So we do clash, but
the improvements, Terry, are going back to the level that we were under Arsene Wenger of finishing fourth that weren't good enough anyway. Yeah, that's my point.
No, I understand that, and then it's a case of, but they're obviously telling you they're aiming to go further. So the point is that people just, as you say, there's and if the results don't go your way over the next 4 or 5 weeks, suddenly there'll be a lot more people that will be saying things that you've been saying this whole time, and maybe he ain't the right guy and someone else needs to come in, but they won't admit that they were wrong. And that's the only thing I don't like about this industry that we all work in now, is like, when I get things wrong, I say, yeah, I got that one wrong. That one was wrong. I thought this was going to happen. It hasn't quite worked out. But one thing I don't think I'm wrong about is I think Man City are bottling this league title race, this title charge. 7 points in 7 games dropped. And they're just, I can't, sometimes this is an eye test thing. I can't quantify it other than eye test. They don't look right. And I'm talking, I'm splitting hairs. I'm talking about the fine margins of winning league titles. I'm not talking about compared to Man United or compared to Tottenham or compared to Brentford. There's just something not quite right about them, if that makes sense. They look you might see a boxer and they're like, suddenly they're not quite connecting with the punch. They're not quite getting out of the way like they used to. There's something slightly missing. And I just feel like, honestly, I feel like they're going to fall. I think fall away hard. That's probably the wrong way. I think Liverpool are winning the league by 5 points.
I think City are still winning.
You think they'll turn this round? Or do you not feel like they're in a slump?
Let's hope the Man City fans don't come for me as well, because I'm on loan there this season. Is it any coincidence I go on loan to Man City and they start bottling everything?
They bottle it, yeah. It's your fault. You did it. It's you.
No, I still think they'll win it. I think they've got the best squad. They've got the best manager. Yeah, and this is their blip. This is their little blip. I don't know who their next games are. I don't know. I genuinely don't know, but I'll have a look. But yeah, I think they got Brighton. I know that's postponed. But I think they will still win it. I just think they've got too many good players, yeah, and they've got a manager that's better than the manager that's managing Liverpool. Liverpool are flying at the moment, and they're putting win after win after win. Yeah, whether they're playing great or not, they're still finding a way. But I just think that City have got too many good players. Yeah, whereas Liverpool, they've got a certain style how they play, and if that don't work, yes, at the moment it's still pulling them out results. But I just don't think they can continue from now to the end of the season like that. Unless teams just roll over and die for them, it's going to be hard for them to grind out everything. Yes, they can do it. Yes, they've done it before. But I just think with City, they do look out of form at the moment, and they're not playing great. Yeah, maybe the fact that Liverpool breathing down their neck has rattled them a little bit. I don't know. But that game against each other is going to be epic, mate. That is just going to be crazy.
It's going to be. It's one of the. It's actually going to be one of them games where I'm not. Listen, I love what I do for a living. I'm sitting here in my little studio in London. It's nice, bruv. Do you know what I mean? But it's one of them games where I really just want to watch it with the boys, a few beers, and just enjoy it, and not be thinking, right, I've got to get thumbnails ready. What's the headlines going to be? What's the talking points going to be? Because it's slightly away from my enjoyment of football, is in enjoying it as a football fan because I'm working, if that makes sense. But it's going to be epic. It's going to be epic for the fans. I feel like they're going to go into it. They're going to go into it, and Liverpool are going to be a point behind them, and it will be the turn. And if Liverpool win that game, they win. I mean, I'd said this 8 weeks ago that Liverpool would catch City, and I was called an idiot. I didn't know football. I predicted that they would then beat them to the title. I was called an idiot. And now I'm going one step further. Maybe I'm pushing my luck here. They're going to win the league title, Liverpool, by 5 points. I look at this City team, and once Liverpool beat them at the Etihad, their resolve will go. Just like Amir Khan's jaw, the resolve will go. Gonna get knocked out by a jab. It's going to be a jab that does it. And you'll just see them drop points. And I think they'll almost, what you will see from City after Liverpool beat them is the letting go. That would be the noise. If it was to make a noise, it would go, oh. You know, like when you're trying to, you've been gym before. You know, when you're trying to do that last one and it doesn't work, and you go, oh, you just give up on the last one. That's it. They're going to give up. They will tap out, essentially, is what they're going to do under submission of Liverpool.
I'm not convinced they are. Listen, they've been there and done it. They win consistently. I just think that they're not going to fold. They're just having a bad spell at the moment. Yeah, and even their bad spell, yeah, they've lost what? They've lost one game. They lost one game. Yeah, the last 5 games they've lost one and drawn one. Yeah, Liverpool won 5 straight games. So yeah, they've dropped 5 points in the last 5 games. Yeah, that's a bad blip for Man City. Yeah, but their next game is Burnley away.
And bro,
which ain't going to be easy, but they'll batter Burnley, I think, and then they've got Liverpool after that.
And I agree. Listen, and I always say this when I talk about Liverpool's and City's having problems. It's so hard for fans. Again, I think fans of Liverpool and City have got to get into their brains that when people talk about you having a bad result or a bad run, it's not comparative. It's not comparative to where Man United are or where Everton are or where Newcastle are. We're talking pound for pound comparisons here. You know, the pound for pound best fighter in the world is Canelo, but he wouldn't beat an average heavyweight in a fight because the heavyweight would land one punch in the jaw, weight difference, knock him out. But the point is, for City standards, to drop 7 points in 7 games in a narrow title race is terrible form. It's awful form for them. You know, I always remember being a kid, and one of my dad's friends was a West Ham fan. And I think I was teasing, but my team's better than yours. He knew I supported Man United. He went, yeah. He says the difference is though, he was saying how like my team could lose 5 games out of 5, and everyone's moaning, but that's it. He says your team loses 2 games in 5. It's a crisis. And it kind of resonated with me. He says, like, it's a different mindset at our clubs. And he was talking about, and I'm like, it's so true. But when you're one of the top guys, 1 or 2 games where you're dropping points, it's a crisis. And I think they're in a mini crisis from a title race point of view, not in the grand scheme of football. And as soon as I heard Pep last night blaming the grass,
that was almost like he'd been watching Ty's AFTV interviews.
As soon as I saw that, I was like, cracks. They beat them cracks. They beat them cracks that are coming through and everything else. And they'll beat Burnley. They'll lose to Liverpool. And they'll lose at least one more game after that. And Liverpool will push past them, in my opinion. They will. And they didn't say they're a bad team. I don't want the people getting, why do you want Liverpool to win? I don't want Liverpool getting number 20. But I'm only giving you straight facts as I see them. And that's Liverpool winning this league title. But we will see. And tomorrow night's going to be an interesting one. Maybe Arsenal can stop them. Can you imagine it? You and Arteta's merry men might do it, mate.
Well, maybe. I'm not confident. I'm never confident against Liverpool, really. But although I was in the cup, I thought they'd take their eye off the ball with the cup. I thought we'd go through over 2 legs. See, that was a positive moment, but nobody clipped that one and put it out on their Twitter accounts, did they?
They never do. They never do. Interesting comment here. It says, can we
big up Tony Roth? That's Tone. Big Tone. Big up to you, my guy.
Oh, there we go. He says, can we take 4 European Cups off of Liverpool, please, for being bankrolled by Littlewoods and 11 league title, 11
you joker.
30s for being bankrolled? By the way, why would we be doing that? I'm a bit confused.
Because of the whole Chelsea situation.
I'm actually, excuse me for yawning, I'm doing some research at the minute. I'm going to do a bit of content on this myth that modern day owners are worse morality-wise than owners of the past. I found some interesting things out about previous owners and board members at clubs during the golden era that will make you skin itch in terms of things they did in scandals that no one knows about. And because again, it's mad about education. So I saw someone, I can't remember who it was, that was tweeting yesterday saying they would never stop a British media company from buying a football club. It's outright. I'm like, well, they did in 1999. They stopped Rupert Murdoch from buying Man United. The government stepped in and stopped him from buying Man United. So it like sometimes it's like just do like 5 minutes of research before you tweet. Just 5 minutes.
When people say Arsenal have never been relegated, yeah, that's technically not the case because we was relegated and then we got voted back into the league. Yeah, at the expense of Spurs. Yeah, and it's like that was because of a little brown envelope being passed over somewhere. Do you know what I mean?
Did Arsenal's owner go to jail? Did Henry Norris go to jail?
Yeah, it did.
For what?
That's what I'm saying, Terry. If you go and Google that guy's name, right? You can Google that guy's name. You'll find out so much information, mate.
That's crazy.
Go and find it. And this is what I'm saying. When people sit there and say Arsenal never been relegated, we did get relegated. We finished bottom of the league that season. So, yeah, and then we somehow managed to get our way back in the league via a voting system, which was dictated to by who paid the most money.
Yeah. It's crazy as well, right? So there's a Premier League club now, and I'm gonna save this for the content, but the Premier League club now, who've got a stand named after a previous owner or senior board member, who in the 70s said that he didn't want to see football televised as it is now, because he didn't want football to sell itself cheaply so that the Jews that own the TV channels can make money.
That's mad.
So you think about that hugely anti-Semitic comment by an owner of a club who still has a stand named after them at that ground, but yet owners of the past were holier than thou, morality levels going through the roof, integrity for days, never any issues. Like, it's just a nonsense. It takes 5 minutes of now. And again, people will put this into a hierarchy thing, but there are some other gems I'm going to bring out for you that touch on all clubs, from club legends right through to owners, around morality nonsense. I mean, I see more outrage, okay, about who might own a particular football club than the fact that some of our football clubs in this country covered up paedophilia for 30 years. That's actually a reason to chuck a team out of the league, right? In my opinion, right? Like, dancing kids. But yeah, it's like more, your owner invested in Apple, and Apple's phones are made in a bad way in a certain country, therefore they shouldn't own that. Your club protected for 40 years, mate. Like, it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. The moral hypocrisy is crazy. And it's the virtue signals, as I call it, Instagram politics everywhere. Oh, I've got to say the right thing to look good. The same as people that, use filters and use a special.
Mate, that's fraud and deception. Filters are fraud and deception, mate.
Bruv, they should be illegal, especially on dating apps. Not that I use them, but like, honestly, fraud, bruv. It should be done for fraud. Listen, everyone who's tuned in to Straight Facts, thank you. We're back live. Watch along later today. Man United match reaction.
I'll chat her out. I'm getting in early. I'll chat her out, Terry, just to rattle everyone.
Troops is going to be here in just over an hour to film the 12th man with the Liverpool fan mods and the head-to-head, the preview. It's out tomorrow for everybody else. But if you're a paying member of the Terrace, squad member and above, that's out for you tonight. Tonight, you get to see that on the Terrace exclusively. Man like Troops making his debut on the Terrace, which is shocking, really, considering how long I've known him and everything else. But making his debut on the Terrace tonight. City reject. The fact is, Terry is deluded. I'm not deluded for thinking Liverpool are going to win the league. It's not like I'm saying, oh, do you know what? I think Chelsea are going to catch up and do it. It's not delusional. You just don't like hearing it.
It's an opinion.
Until next time, Terry outed for what? I don't get it. That's a weird one.
It's an opinion. That's all it is. I don't understand why people can't get that.
Yeah, I don't know what he means by Terry outed.
I don't get it.
Yeah, me neither. Listen, until next time, everybody, take care of yourselves. Goodbye. God bless.